Not everything in our world is meant to be seen. And this video will show you why.
Long story short, this is what I found.
From bizarre creatures that defy logic to unnatural beings that don't seem to belong, some things simply shouldn't exist, yet they do. Let's take a look at these strange and unsettling oddities. A regular maintenance job turned into something much stranger. While checking a broken pipe underground, one of the workers spotted movement in the corner. He turned on his flashlight and couldn't believe what was there. A small creature with zebra-like skin and glowing eyes stood frozen. Its body was a mix of bird-like feathers and rat features. No one had seen anything like it before. They backed off, unsure what they'd just found. Maybe something escaped from a hidden lab, or maybe it wasn't part of our world at all. Grave visitor. A man had gone to a cemetery in Srinagar to visit a loved one's grave, but what he witnessed stayed with him far longer than he expected. As he approached the grave, a strange sound caught his attention. Something was inside. Peeking in, he saw a small figure moving. It wasn't human. This was thin, oddly shaped, with features that reminded him of that Dobby creature from the movies. The thought that it might be feeding or living down there made him step back. He left quietly, unsettled without bothering the tiny figure. Creepy man. Late at night, a few locals walking home spotted something standing still near the trees. It looked like a man, but not quite. Its skin had a rough, scaly texture, and its eyes glowed in the dark. It didn't move, just stood there, watching. They described the face as oddly human, but the rest of it was completely off. Theories spread quickly, where some talked about aliens, and many believed it was a jinn, the kind their elders warned them about. Nobody stuck around long enough to find out. It didn't chase them, but it definitely wasn't just a shadow. Unknown ritual. At first glance, it felt like something strange. Regular-sized people standing calmly next to what looked like actual giants. Their movements were slow, lifelike, almost real enough to believe. But then comes the surprise. Those towering figures weren't real beings. They were puppets. Enormous ones. Turns out this was part of a traditional African performance where the puppets are controlled from within. Impressive for sure. But if you had stumbled on this without knowing the background, you'd probably think you'd walked into some giant awakening ritual. Spooky entity. This man was half asleep when he felt the bed shift. Figuring it was just a blanket falling, he opened his eyes and instantly froze. Something was crawling toward him. It had a human-like upper body, but its lower half moved like a snake. Its face didn't blink, and its hands looked human, but nothing about it felt right. He was frightened and bolted from the bed. No one knows what that thing was or how it got into his room, but he swore that it wasn't just a dream, and it definitely wasn't human. Shapeshifting owl. A group of friends in Mexico decided to explore an abandoned house at night, hoping to catch a few spooky moments on camera. But what they found wasn't quite a ghost. They spotted an owl sitting completely still, its head slowly turning farther than it should. The stare it gave them was intense, too intense. They stood there, watching it, until someone said it might be a bruja in disguise, a witch said to take animal form. Suddenly, that fun ghost hunt didn't feel like a game anymore. They left fast, and none of them ever went back. Unknown find. Somewhere in China, in 2018, people gathered around a pale figure lying near a construction site. It had long limbs, oddly human features, and didn't move. until someone bent down to get a closer look. Then it twitched. The man jumped back. Everyone did because the thing was alive. But then a brave man finally picked it up, and it jerked its arms again, almost like it was glitching. The footage went viral with people calling it a genetic mistake or pollution. But a quiet few believed it crawled up from the ocean's dark side, where creatures like this were never meant to surface. Owl hybrid.
What the hell is that?
The woman relaxing in her backyard caught something odd out of the corner of her eye. An owl was sitting in the grass, or at least, that's what it looked like at first. But it didn't move, blink, or turn its head like owls do. She watched closely, and the longer she looked, the stranger it felt, like something was trying to look like an owl, but missing the details. She didn't dare get closer, just kept her distance, unsettled, because deep down, she knew that wasn't just another bird.
What the hell is that?
Window creature. A man caught something deeply unsettling on camera, something standing just outside his window. It wasn't moving or making noise. It was just watching. The figure looked old, leathery, and oddly shaped, almost like a dinosaur, but too human to make sense. The man didn't go outside. He didn't even move, just kept filming. Viewers couldn't shake the feeling that whatever that thing was, it had been around long before cameras existed. And it didn't need to break in to scare anyone. It just had to stand there, reminding us that sometimes fear comes from stillness, not motion. Eye in cave. These two hunters were exploring familiar terrain when they noticed a shallow dip beside the path. Nothing deep, just a shaded spot that looked like it could be a den. One of them thought he saw something shift inside, so they aimed their flashlights. What showed up wasn't fur or claws. It was a huge, unblinking eye. The skin around it was thick and bumpy, more like a lizard than anything else. Could have been some strange reptile, but not one anyone could name. It was even being joked about as a dinosaur. Whatever it was, it blinked and then silently pulled back into the dark. Ceiling entities. The homeowners thought it was something supernatural. The noises came at night, lights scraping above their heads. It got so creepy that they finally cut into the ceiling, and there they were. Small white creatures with blank stares. They poked their heads through gaps in the plaster. These entities were not ghosts or aliens, just a group of baby owls that had made themselves comfortable in the insulation. Their pale feathers and big still eyes gave off a ghostly vibe, but in reality, they were harmless and lost, just looking for warmth and unintentionally giving everyone in that house a full week of stress dreams. Gargoyle in attic. During the demolition of an old house, one of the workers stopped short. Buried under dust and wood fragments was something that looked off. It had leathery wings stretched out and a face that didn't seem human or animal. It had pointed ears, tiny curled fingers, and features that looked like a sculpture from some ancient myth. They took a video and posted it, asking if anyone had seen anything like it. Some thought it a gargoyle, others guessed a preserved fish, like a dried-up stingray. But that didn't explain why it looked like it had been posed, or why it was inside someone's attic in the first place. Trash can runner. This man stepped outside just for a quick breath of air, but what he saw made him stop cold. A coyote was sprinting down the street, but it wasn't chasing a squirrel or a dog. It was after something odd. This thing was tall, almost the shape of a person, but its face looked like a mix between a bird and something out of a sci-fi movie. Before he could process it, the creature leapt over a trash can, like it weighed nothing. The coyote gave up. Moments later, the same creature burst out from inside that very bin and vanished. That wasn't a street animal. That was something else. mysterious bird. It was just another morning on the farm when something strange showed up. The farmer looked toward the cages and noticed a bird he didn't recognize that was perched calmly, watching everything. Its neck was unusually long, and its fur wasn't feathers. It didn't act wild or scared. In fact, it seemed like it had been there before. He snapped a photo, knowing no one would believe him otherwise. Since then, birdwatchers and researchers had been trying to figure it out, and had guessed it was a rare species, or something new. Whatever it is, it hasn't been seen again. Bug-eyed find. This village in China suddenly turned into a hot spot for strange news. Locals discovered a creature near the edge of town that had pale skin, oversized bug eyes, and a body no one could recognize. They were scared and confused, so they called in experts, and what came next shocked everyone. The team didn't identify it as any known species. In fact, their report said it might not be from Earth at all. Just like that, a quiet farming town found itself asking a huge question. If one made it here, how many more are already around us? Weird hatchling. A video leaked out of a lab, just a few seconds long, but enough to set the internet ablaze. Inside a sealed glass box, an egg cracked open, and from it, a small creature emerged, chameleon-like, but with leathery wings folded tight against its sides. It blinked, moved slowly, and looked around. No one had answers. Scientists stayed silent, but online theories blew up with guesses of ancient DNA or secret bioengineering. People didn't laugh when someone said dragon, because honestly, it looked the part. The kind of thing you expect in a storybook, not a real-life lab. Shoreline entity. A dock worker spotted something strange washed up near the shore. At first glance, it looked like a stingray, but then he saw it had 2 legs. Actual human-like legs. It also had a long tail, wing-like extensions, and a face that almost looked like it was trying to be something familiar. The body was gray and dried out, like it had been there a long time. It looked like just a damaged stingray, but onlookers were not convinced. The ocean is still hiding things we've never named, and this might be one of them. Too cute to be real. This tiny creature looked more like a stuffed toy than a living thing, small enough to sit in your palm, soft enough to make you question if it was even breathing. People kept replaying the video, wondering if it was CGI, but it wasn't. It was a real silky anteater. Hidden high up in rainforest canopies, it was the kind of animal that did not want attention. No loud calls, no sudden moves. It just clung to the branches and minded its own business. Internet folks just caught up with it recently, but nature's had it tucked away for ages, like a little secret she never meant to share. Ritual in sky. The clip starts with a shaky zoom into a tree, tall and thin, swaying slightly, but it's not the tree that grabs you. At the very top, something stands, not perched, standing. Dressed in what looks like a robe, the figure slowly moves its arms, like it's tracing symbols in the air. You can't make out a face, just a black shape against the daylight. The movement feels too controlled to be random. People online were split. Some said witchcraft, others yelled fake. But here's the thing. Trees bend, break, sway, but they don't normally let people balance like that, especially not ones that don't come down. Desert crawler. You don't expect to see something crawling across desert sand, especially not something like this. A guy was filming a casual desert vlog when his camera picked up movement in the distance. He zoomed in and froze. What he captured didn't look like any animal we know. It had no arms, only back legs that dragged its pale, hairless body across the sand. But the real chill was faint markings all over its skin like symbols or carvings inked into it. People online started calling it a djinn, but believers claimed it was a mutated being from forbidden rituals. deep sea oddity. A short clip went viral on the internet, and it had people cringing and fascinated all at once. Inside a container, a long worm-like creature wriggled slowly, covered in hair-like strands that made it look straight out of a sci-fi movie. Some called it a mutant. Others were sure it was a new species. Turns out it's a marine segmented worm, a deep-sea predator that hides during the day and comes out under the cover of night. It's not from space, just from the bottom of our ocean. Still a good reminder that there's plenty down there we haven't met yet. Alien creature. The man was just walking a forest trail, soaking in the peace, when something by the path caught his eye. It looked like a snake at first, stretched out and unmoving. But when he bent down for a closer look, the shape didn't add up. The body was smooth and slick, but the head, it was strange. Round, oversized, with no familiar features. Almost like it didn't evolve here. Some people said it's a rare slug. Others joked it escaped a lab experiment, but anyone who saw the footage could tell. This thing didn't feel natural. It felt like it dropped in from somewhere else. River giant. Aerial footage from a helicopter over the Amazon was supposed to capture the dense jungle and winding rivers, but instead, it caught something else. Just below the surface, a massive shape moved through the water that was long, dark, and gliding in the river. It looked too big for an anaconda, way too big. Some called it a modern-day sea serpent, the kind sailors once feared. Others weren't so sure, brushing it off as a camera trick. But those who watched closely, they knew that thing was real. And if it had surfaced, the chopper might not have been far enough. Sidewalk Thing.
Long story short, this is what I found.
What started as a peaceful dog walk turned unsettling real quick. The man noticed something weird lying on the sidewalk. It was pale, slimy, and motionless. From a distance, it looked like a carcass, but up close, it was something else entirely. It had strange worm-like things, or maybe tentacles spilling from it. He didn't stick around long to figure it out. The odd part was that there were no rivers, no oceans nearby. Just a strange, sea-like creature dropped in the middle of a city. Folks said it might be a nature glitch or a warning. Either way, it hasn't been seen again.
I'm just here to ask y'all, what is it? Cause at this point, bro, look at this, bro.
Glowing eyes. Near the end of their hike in Brazil, a group of friends wandered past an odd rock structure, and that's when they noticed the eyes. Deep in the shadows, two bright spots were staring back at them, but it wasn't just an animal hiding. The shape, the stillness, it felt ancient. They stood frozen, as it didn't blink or flinch, just watched. Not knowing what they were dealing with, they stepped back and left the area fast. It might have been a guardian of the land that was waiting for something, or someone. Blue glow. A short video was making the rounds on the internet, and it got everyone talking. It showed a scorpion glowing bright blue under a black light. At first glance, it looked like a creature from a sci-fi film. People online went wild, with some guessing it was a hybrid species, others calling it a new discovery. But the truth is much cooler. That glow? It's natural. Every scorpion on Earth does it under UV light, thanks to a special layer in its shell called the hyaline. And what's crazy? That layer can keep glowing for millions of years, even after the scorpion's long gone. Rain crystals. After rain in Texas, a woman stepped outside expecting puddles, but instead, she found the ground glittering. At first, it looked like tiny crystals or crushed ice. Odd, but harmless. She gave it a poke with a stick. And that's when it got weird. The thing was soft and jelly-like, almost like slime. People online had theories instantly. Some said it was chemical residue. Others brought up old 1950s sea spray military experiments where unknown substances were sprayed on cities. Whatever the real story is, one thing was clear. This wasn't your usual post-rain mess. See-through bird. In Destin, Florida, a guy caught something strange on camera. It was a heron standing calmly on a handrail. Only there was one problem. You could see straight through it. The wings weren't solid. The scenery behind it was visible if it wasn't fully there. Online viewers blamed lighting tricks, but experts weren't buying that. A few thought it was cloaked military tech maybe. And then came the dimension theories, like it had slipped into our world by accident. Real or not, that bird didn't move like a projection, and the footage, way too clear to dismiss. Moving tree.
And Lunesa, like Quaisen the Banda Jereatevela, Ocalito Ataoye.
Driving near the woods, a guy slammed the brakes when something unbelievable appeared ahead. That was a tree, moving. It was not rustling in the wind or falling. The tree was literally walking. He started filming as the tree seemed to drag itself deeper into the forest. There was no wind, trucks, or any ropes. It is possible that it was being pulled by something unseen. But one comment stood out as someone joked it was a forest giant collecting trees. Whatever the cause, the oddest part was how deliberate it looked, like that tree knew exactly where it was going.
And Lunesa, like Quaisen the Banda Jereatevela, Ocalito Ataoye.
Out of dirt. A man was checking his backyard when he noticed something strange pushing up from the soil. It wasn't a worm or an insect. It was a small, strange creature that had no eyes, but a flat face, and two big front teeth sticking out like tiny tusks. It didn't act scared, just kind of lost. He filmed it and posted it online. That's when others chimed in. It was a greater blind mole rat, a rare underground dweller that hardly ever comes to the surface. A few moments later, it dug itself back in, quietly gone, like it was never there. Mismatched turtle. Walking along a muddy riverbank, an explorer spotted something odd sticking out of the ground. He leaned in and saw a turtle, but something was off. Its head was way too large for its small shell, like it was designed backward. At first, he thought it might be sick. Then he looked it up. It turned out to be a big-headed turtle that was rare, threatened, and barely seen in the wild. He reported it immediately. For him, it wasn't just a cool find. It was a rare moment of hope for a species that was quietly slipping away. Mysterious sighting. At first, the clip looked ordinary, where a man was standing near a plain cloth on the ground in an African village. But then, the chanting began, and with every step he took around it, the cloth began to move. It twitched and then lifted. Seconds before, it was completely flat without any shape or bumps. Now, it looked like something was underneath, but nothing was visible. People had their theories of ancient energy, rituals, and even darker stuff, but no one really knew. The cloth never opened, and maybe that's for the best. Not everything that moves needs to be seen. Snake or skeleton? While on a peaceful morning walk, a man spotted something slithering nearby. But this wasn't any ordinary snake. Its skin looked like bones, almost as if its skeleton was on the outside, and its head wild enough to belong in a video game. He filmed it and posted it online. Viewers online threw out all kinds of names, including zombie snake, nightmare lizard. But in reality, it was a gaboon viper. That bone-like pattern is just camouflage. They're from Africa, dangerously venomous, and have the longest fangs of any snake. Harmless if left alone, but definitely not the kind of surprise you want underfoot. Alley encounter.
You're out there now, getting shit released?
You're out for a walk, headphones in, minding your business. And then you turn a corner and see it. 4 people were standing silently in an alley, heads tilted back, but 2 of them didn't seem to have heads at all. That's what one guy walked into. He filmed it, posted it, and boom, it led to instant chaos online. Some claimed it was a street performance. Others guessed a strange ritual, or, honestly, just a really weird trip. Whatever it wasn't normal. After seeing that, you probably wouldn't want to take that shortcut home again either. Flaming mud. In a part of Kiang, Taiwan, the ground didn't just bubble, it burned. A muddy patch started oozing like usual, and then suddenly, flames came out from the top. Locals were stunned to see a hole in the ground, breathing flames. Taiwan's known for these mud volcanoes, not the lava kind, but ones that spit up gases, water, and thick mud from way below the surface. But this one, it decided to light up. Giant roach. As if regular-sized roaches weren't bad enough. Now we've got bigger ones showing up. One man found a giant roach right in the middle of his study floor. He filmed it just lying there. Massive, unmoving. The video cut off before it did anything, and honestly, nobody wanted to see it fly. People online had mixed reactions. Some thought it was a prop. Others believed it was a hybrid or some kind of mutant. Whatever it was enough to make you double-check every corner of your house. Because if these things are real, we might be in trouble. Aliohanka mystery. In 1996, something unusual was found near a Russian village that was small, thin, with a large head and human-like eyes. It didn't look like a newborn or any animal. Locals named it Aliohanka. People were quick to call it an alien, but scientists began examining it, and before anything official could be confirmed, the body disappeared. To this day, all that is left are grainy videos and the stories of those who saw it. No answers, no follow-up. Aliohanka had become more of a legend now, but some still believe it wasn't from here in the first place. Leaf trickster. Someone walking past this thing thought it was a dry twig moving. No one paid much attention until it stood upright and started walking on thin, delicate legs. That wasn't a twig. It was an insect, a violin mantis. Its shape, posture, and even its color was made to fool the eye. These clever bugs have been spotted all over India, hiding on leaves, trees, even on someone's sleeve once. They don't scare predators away, they simply disappear into the background. That's how they survive without claws and wings. Just nature's version of expert-level disguise. Cursed breakfast. It started like one of those cooking something satisfying videos. A guy, a frying pan, and a regular chicken egg. But then he did something no one expected. He began chanting, then he cracked the egg. And that's when it got disturbing. There was no yolk in it, just dozens of crawling black bugs spilled out, alive and wriggling. Folks couldn't stop replaying it. Was it staged? Was it real? Some blamed dark rituals. Others said it was a rare infection inside the egg. Either way, breakfast had not felt the same since that video dropped. Strange encounter. Near Barnegat Bay, a local fisherman was filming his usual catch when something unexpected rose from the water. It wasn't a fish, it had a human-like shape, but scaly skin and gills on its neck, and those claws were not made for handshakes. The clip went online and instantly caught attention. Viewers laughed it off, but experts didn't. Old folks around there had always said there was something strange in those marshes, like something ancient lived out there. And it finally got curious. That night, it didn't just watch, it let itself be seen. Open discussion. Today's open discussion is about this clip that has been making people seriously uncomfortable. It showed a group in an African village gathered around this eerie doll. Drums are beating, voices are chanting. It looked like a ritual. But the real shock came when they started giving the doll food, and its mouth began to chew on its own. There were no wires or puppeteers, just this thing sitting there, moving like it was alive. Some folks said a spirit was invited into the doll and actually took over. Others brushed it off as a smart illusion, but the way that jaw moved, it didn't feel like a trick. It felt real. What do you guys think about it? Comment below. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.